Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Calvert alongside Father Joe Grimaldi, and we would like to welcome you to the, pardon the redundancy, Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. You know, the wish list event, it's in its final days, so boy, now is the time to visit Star Lincoln. Conveniently located 12 Mile Road, just east of Telegraph in Southfield. Incredible deals going on right now. On the remaining 2020s, oof, you need to act now. The Navigator, the Corsair, the Nautilus, Aviator, and MKZ. Shop and buy from home. Digital showroom. It's open 24/7. Swift, safe, simple. Simply go to starlincoln.com. Prefer the phone? 888-356-1278. And remember, we feature remote pickup and delivery. Our award-winning service remains by appointment only between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. However, walk-ins for new vehicle sales continue to be from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Again, go to starlincoln.com or call them 248-354-4900. Well, you know, we've got listeners all over the world. I mean, literally all over the world. Yeah. It's interesting when you look at the map. And you can, with the analytics that they provide us with, you can see listeners in Hawaii, of course, the entire United States, to Japan, to Italy, to Germany, Scandinavia. I mean, all over the world, okay?
That's amazing.
Now on parts of the world that are listening to this right now, it's very warm and sunny and nice, parts of Australia, New Zealand, right, in that part of the world. Whereas up here, I don't know what it is about living in the great state of Michigan, pure Michigan, they say. All 4 seasons. Am I missing something with the weather in terms of they're kind of leaving out the fact that winter is always cloudy in Michigan?
Well, fortunately, the weather is not so bad today. I mean,
it's
cloudy.
Yeah.
But that's the only drawback because it's not freezing.
Yeah.
You can still do a little walk and you can still do some gardening as much as you can. You don't do much gardening in winter, but you know what I mean.
Well, you can go out and knock the snow off of the shrubs and things like that.
Yeah. So it's not horrible.
But it ain't great either.
No, it isn't.
All right. Is that a metaphor then for what the entire world is going through right now? It ain't great, but it I'm speaking, of course, of the giant elephant in the room, COVID-19, the coronavirus. You know, it's hard to believe we're going on a year, March. I mean, soon we will have been in the throes of this for 1 year, mask wearing and social distancing. So I'm wondering if that's a good metaphor for this time of year in terms of where we are. It's winter, the days are short. In our part of the country, it's nippy and it's cloudy, but we can handle it, and that is not unlike what's going on with the virus, right?
Exactly, and I think part of it is because what you just mentioned, it's winter, which forces us to be indoors a lot. People are going to take advantage of getting together a lot because they've missed that connection, which they had before the virus, and now they would like to, without realizing it, be with other people, and this is the wrong time to do that. And this is why the numbers seem to be jetting up high, unbelievable. So I think this is true in other places where the weather is not that cold either, because I think California is really hurting.
They are beyond anything we've seen. And I don't mean to be macabre about it. When they start mentioning deaths per minute, you kind of got to go, can we get a break from this emotionally? Is there a way? Because I think I've noticed with my friends and the people I'm running into, they just seem to be really embedded in this COVID fatigue, this cloud of not depression, but like you get up and you're already worn out from thinking about it, right?
Exactly.
What do you do?
I think the other thing, too, is to think that we're not the worst in the United States either.
Where we are.
Right. At the level we're at.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty bad, but not as horrible as places like California, Arizona, and so on.
Sure.
So they are hurting to the nth degree. we at least can go out. Definitely we're going to be masked. I think that's important. And we're going to try to keep distance. But I don't think we're going to do a lot of crazy things from now until the vaccine becomes a reality for the individuals. And I say that only because we're finished with Christmas, we're finished with New Year's, and the temptation, particularly New Year's Eve, was to be with everybody and hug everybody as we begin a new year.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the worst thing that you can imagine when it comes to the spread of the COVID.
Yep. I'm just going to interrupt you for a second because I had a thought while you were talking, and I want you to get back to your point. But the other distractions were good during December leading up to the new year. Distractions, even if it was in our homes, buying presents online, smiling, oh, he will love that, she will love that, they will love this. That's a good distraction. It was a happy distraction. We also had the beautiful portion of it, of course, biblically. We had the birth of Jesus Christ. Now that's in the rearview mirror. Now it's the reality of, I hate to say it again, day in, day out. Just everybody kind of licking their chops, waiting for that vaccine. So please go ahead. I'm just trying to say that.
And then, of course, there's going to be fighting about who gets the vaccine first.
Yeah. And that's going to get ugly.
It is ugly.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, given the cloudy atmosphere that we're all kind of in right now, the after effects of the holidays and now reality again, as Catholics, what can we do? Not make light of it, but turn our frowns upside down.
Well, I think that as long as we do the best we can with distancing and wearing masks, we can still socialize to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going to happen, though, is once this whole pandemic is over with, I don't know if it'll ever be completely over with, but once things start to lighten up, we are entering the Roaring 20s.
Yes, again.
The Roaring 20s of the 21st century is here to stay. So the Roaring 20s will probably begin maybe summertime, I don't know when, but people will start celebrating in a big way.
Yeah, the Roaring 20s was a time when many people defied prohibition, indulged in new styles of dancing and dressing. Yeah, it was a crazy time. People were ebullient, as lively as any period there ever was.
Sure.
We're free from disease. Herd immunity had set in, and let's have a drink, boys.
Yeah.
Line them
So
up.
I can't help but think that we'll probably go into that type of a period, which was not the best thing in the world, but it certainly had the spirits lifted to the nth degree.
Well, spirits and spirits.
That's right.
Pardon the pun, Your Honor. I find myself trying to stay occupied with things that I enjoy doing, aside from the elements of work that I enjoy anyway, because I love what I do, and you certainly love what you're doing. But for people out there that are just kind of building on their first ever block of maybe borderline depression, what would you do? What would you say?
Well, I kind of prepared myself, maybe over-prepared. Basically, I bought a number of crossword puzzles, even brought the base for them just in case after you do them, you don't want to take them apart and stuff like that.
Of course not.
And then I bought all sorts of extra books to read and stuff like that. However, my life has been pretty busy despite the time that I've had alone. And I don't mind being alone. Actually, I enjoy being with people very much. But I also enjoy being with myself, okay?
Yeah.
And so that I never really had the time to do one jigsaw puzzle, I should say.
Yeah.
I never even did one. And I bought all the equipment for it, stuff like that. And even, as I say, the extra books, books that I would not ordinarily use for my preparation. But then, because of the church activity, that never ceased. Because with the church activity, that goes on because we are online if we're not in person. So that was regular with me. People keep dying, unfortunately. And so funerals, were abounding, if you want.
And still are.
And they still are. Weddings, of course, were postponed for the most part. Weddings, they're waiting for the spring. They're waiting for the summer, actually, or the fall, a year from now.
You're waiting for the all clear.
All clear.
Yeah.
I know that one wedding I'm preparing a couple for is not until December. So they're hoping December will be the right time to do it, at least for the celebration. Some of the weddings, I counsel them to do the wedding now, just 4 people, maybe 5 or 6, and then celebrate a year from now on the first anniversary or whatever you want to do.
Sure.
And this way, you'll avoid the interaction, big crowds, this type of thing.
I've been noticing it now for a couple of months. I've been 6 months. If you do read the obits, you will see the tagline is usually, the celebration of Donna's life will be held at a later time. The celebration of Don's life will be held at a later time.
In September. Maybe.
Sure, yeah. And so you don't mind being alone, and you don't mind taking on these projects. And, of course, you still have a job, and fortunately for us, limited numbers, but Mass can still be open to parishioners.
And not only that, we're online. And so that a place where I'm at, we have Mass 7:30, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 5 p.m., Saturday 5 p.m. So it's pretty much an active schedule. We haven't lessened that part of it. Because it's online, the priest is going to be busy, even though the people are going to be watching it from home. However, we do have a nice crowd coming to Mass, at least to take up 1/4 of the capacity of the church, or 1/2 right now, I think it is. So it's busy time, but interestingly enough, preparing for the podcast.
Yeah.
And that takes up some mental time and just being in action at a particular time.
Being the pro that you are.
Yeah. I wish.
You're
but
very
anyway,
good. You're very
so
good.
what I'm saying is that there are a lot of things people get involved with despite the fact they do it alone. And, of course, if you're with a family, I think that's a blessing, because if the family is all living in the house, they can celebrate together. And that's something that doesn't happen in the good times, right? So it forces people to enjoy each other's company, especially I'm thinking families who have kids who are 20 and under. And so they're all together. They can have special meals together. They can reminisce together. They can do a lot of things together, play games. And so there is a place for doing that. Being alone is not the end of the world. With me, because I'm a celibate, so I live by myself, and so I stay pretty close to that, too.
Right.
There were times early in the season when we could go to dinner with limited numbers, but that's gone now until the 20th of this month, I believe, when they're going to reopen
and we'll
restaurants.
see if they do, yeah.
So anyway, to answer your question, Ken, family time is important, and this offers not only the possibility, but the idea that that's the only way you're going to interact is with your family.
Right. I was just going to say that I saw a comedian friend of mine, a guy locally from our area, Tim Allen.
Oh, sure.
Tim was on a program this morning, and might have been Good Morning America or whatever it was. Anyway, he was on touting his program, Last Man Standing. And they said, but you were probably happiest when you were out on the road doing your stand-up comedy. And he said, absolutely. He said, we had over 50 dates scheduled in late 2020 into 2021. He said, in big venues. He said, but do you think people will ever feel comfortable again going to see a comedian sitting this close to each other, and my hands are touching each other, going, ha, 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 blowing particles, if you will, into a room? And they had to stop for a second and kind of go, yeah, I don't know if I will. I'm not sure. Even after we've reached that so-called herd immunity, I think it's going to take a few couple of years for people to really feel safe, like what we in 2019 will now refer to as the good old days, right?
Oh, definitely. I agree with you, Ken. I think the only thing is this, that we're going to very much follow the recommendation of wearing, other countries seem to do it comfortably.
Yeah.
Wearing the mask.
Yeah.
You see it when you go travel afar.
Yeah, the Pacific Rim, Asia. Yeah.
They wear the mask all the time, whether or not it's needed. So I think we might be able to get into that habit as well. Not everybody will comply, of course, once things have loosened up a bit. But I think most people will feel comfortable wearing that. And then when they do get together with others, well, if it's immediate family or people that they see on a regular basis, well, then they probably wouldn't wear the mask. But other times, it's not the end of the world.
I know. I've gotten totally used to doing it. Totally used to doing it. Remember, folks, that as a wise person once said, this too shall pass, and not all days are going to be cloudy, Ken. The sunny days are out there, and it always sort of puts a smile on my face, a little prayer from Father Joe Grimaldi.
That I think we can do. And again, we're
nice.
still waiting for an end to the pandemic. It seems to be nearing, but I think we should continue to pray. Almighty and merciful God, source of all life, health, and healing, look with compassion on our world, brought low by disease. Protect us in the midst of the grave challenges that assail us, and in your fatherly providence, grant recovery to the stricken, strength to those who care for them, and success to those working to eradicate this scourge. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
If you'd like, you can email us. It's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. That's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply search Father Joe Grimaldi. And thanks for listening, everyone.